All right, guys, here we are live. All right, live with the Provoke Coach podcast. We are on episode 3. Okay, so here we go. I have a special guest today, and really, a lot of you that know me and they know kind of my stamp in corporate America and what I did for essentially the last 20 years is I had an opportunity to really at a very young age for myself really work with somebody and work side by side with somebody that really kind of pushed me and really kind of drove me to my limits and sometimes questioned some of the things that I asked him to do and I was willing to do. And I saw a young man that really came from, really just finishing school and really as a young adult getting into the game of sales and leadership and management, really in kind of hustle. And I think that, for a long time, this gentleman, I was very intrigued with the way that he and his ability to bring so many people for one mission. And I mean, the referral base was absolutely stunning with my guest today. Loany, I mean, look, man, it almost puts the hair on the back of my neck to stand up because at the time that I was growing and thriving in my business career and my first step in my business career, you were a part of that, and you were one of those people on my team that kind of helped lift me up. And, I know that I'm, really kind of trying to sell it here, but I don't have to. And, here's the cool thing is that our relationship has been nothing but growth ever since then. And sometimes from far, okay, as we don't talk, on an everyday basis, but really we follow each other and we really thrive off of each other in certain ways. And it may not even be vocal. At that point. So, guys, I got a special guest. Man, hey, look, I appreciate you being, on today's, kind of broadcast on our episode on things that are just getting started. Can you please tell everybody who you are?
Brandon, thank you for having me first and foremost. And yes, you're right. We did have some amazing times together. We both learned from each other. I guess our competitive nature allowed for us to continue to push the envelope, and I can't see myself getting to where I am. And first I give the thanks to God, but then secondly I also recognize that you had a big huge role in my development and to being where I am now. And not to say that I am very far up above anyone. I'm just trying to say that I've learned a lot, and thank you for having me. It's my pleasure to be on.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, tell us about, kind of where you're at right now. I mean, tell us about your business a little bit. Obviously, nobody, after a long, hard day on a Monday after the holidays, the last thing you want to do is talk about, what what you've been doing all day. But tell us really about that.
No, it is my pleasure. Like you said, we're here to provoke and inspire people to want to learn and do better and get on their own and to personal growth, and hopefully attaining some wealth and between. So my company is called 1-800-Tax Pro. It is a company that started 5 years ago, about 5 years ago or so. And let me tell you something. When we started, it was with a vision, with a dream, to be innovative in a field that was it's a person to person type of field. And with a little bit of I like to say that what happened throughout the years has been we got together a team where we're cooking a big soup, and everyone adds a little bit of their own spice to it, and here we are 5 years later. We do taxes remotely. To say, to put it in short, we do taxes remotely. We service customers nationwide. So we've been very lucky to do this for the last 5 years, and still continuing.
Well, and I guess, tell me about that. Are you doing just, personal clients or business clients as well? I mean, tell me about that.
So the way that it works is, to put it short, we take care of mainly personal taxes, simple taxes.
Yeah.
It seems like the big companies, of some of the names that you might be able to recognize, like TurboTax or H&R Block online, these companies have so many clients and they try to service people in an old-fashioned way, and we thought, hey, maybe we could be innovative in a sense to be able to help them remotely. What happens with some of these clients is they download a software online, and they try to put in their information and try to do their own taxes, but they don't really know the terminology. They don't know the forms that they're using, and it becomes a little bit more complicated than they expect. So what do? They look for tax help, and they go online, they Google, they find our ad, and we take tax related questions and turn them into tax preparations so that we attain these clients that way.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, especially now with everything going on in the world. I mean,
Yeah,
first of all, you guys are remote, and you guys have been
yeah.
remote, this whole time. So it really hasn't been a big change in your business per se, except for more business, right? I mean, isn't that what you were telling me the other day?
Now I will say that COVID-19 did have an effect on us.
Yeah, sure.
For the year, it wasn't for the best, but it proved that our theory and the approach that we take works. It's not even a theory. It's definitely something that we've proven time after time. Normally, a tax season would be done by April 15th. I think we operated until almost June,
Yeah.
until at least later part of May. And,
Yeah.
we were still servicing clients because we are remote. The
Yeah.
only difference is that we didn't know the effects that this was going to have on staffing.
Yeah.
So this year we have scaled down to about 50% of what we normally have in the call center. And last year that proved that as long as we, you know, continue to motivate the employees that we have, we were able to still produce the same amount of numbers despite the COVID, pandemic. Yeah.
Interesting. I mean, a lot of business owners that I talk to, they seem to run across that to where, now that, cash wasn't just flowing and everything was smooth sailing, if you will, that, look, this put a damper in a lot of people's business, a lot of people's jobs. I
Yeah.
mean, obviously more so now than ever, Luani, is that, what I see, especially with your company, is that, look, you guys have been remote for such a long time. You're used to working remote. You have been for a long period. But now you're finding that the people that you kept on board and the people that you brought back and the people that you actually employed, those had a greater opportunity, I guess, at this point now to really be successful. Tell me about that a little bit.
Oh, absolutely. As far as our employees go, we have been able to develop relationships and help cultivate a group of leaders
Yeah.
to be successful in the field that we're in over the years. We have some of our tax preparers that come back year after year to take care of hundreds of their clients that they themselves personally take care of. They themselves, call these same clients that they service year after year, and in
Right.
most cases, these folks end up calling and asking for them. So we have a system, a CRM that allows us to set up appointments with these folks. They could go online and they could themselves remotely from the comfort of their own home set up an appointment to be part to have their tax preparer give them a call. And this has helped our some of the guys that we have come and only work for 4.5 months of the year,
Yeah.
and they're able to plan out the rest of their year, whether it's work part-time or go to school or take the year off. I mean, it all depends. What we've been able to do is afford people not necessarily to be rich, but to be rich with time in a sense. They're able to cover their financial burdens early through in the year, and able to plan for the future, and it buys them time, so to speak. If you know what I mean, if that makes any sense.
I'm glad that you brought that up because that's kind of an interesting topic, and not to really kind of get off, skelter, but what you're providing, I guess, for your people is an opportunity that not only do they make good money working with you, obviously, especially, during tax season, but now with tax season kind of changing, everything that we have, it's becoming more of a necessity. Number one, yeah, it's remote, but number two, you're giving these guys an opportunity to kind of, geez, get everything done the first quarter, kind of the year. It's like, look, I see you, I watch you, like, I know when you're vacationing, like as an individual, as your friend, I know when tax season, you can't get a hold of Loany on the phone. Like it's impossible. But when you are able to play, then you are able to play more long term, right? Like you're able to go on month long, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, whatever. And that's what you're teaching your people. Is that kind of what I'm hearing?
That's essentially what we want to pass down. Hey, we give you the opportunity to grow with a company that will not necessarily give you a lot of money, but more so buy you time. Because just to put it in short, I think it's about the average, and don't quote me on this, but I think the average American makes about $30,000 a year, maybe less.
Yeah.
Some of my guys make 40,000 in 4 months, right?
Right.
So what does this do? This allows this individual to buy themselves time, to put themselves in a vantage point for them to make better decisions throughout the year. Hey, take care of your bills, the necessities now, plan for the future. And even if they were to work for us for 4 months, they would have the liberty of going to school, finishing up that degree that they've been meaning to do, or work part-time and just relax because all their bills are paid. So that's the culture, that's the mentality that we're trying to do here with our employees. But we have a promising looking future, and I'll elaborate more on that in a little bit as we get there. But we're giving people opportunities to grow with us as well.
Wow, that's awesome. So, obviously not only, a place to where it seems like it's becoming more of a necessity, right? As an essential type part of the business, is that, two things are certain, right? Death and taxes.
100%.
Well, guess what?
Trust me, I don't say that lightly, because I got to pay some taxes. So yes,
Right.
absolutely.
Well, and that's a part of, the game, right?
Yeah.
But it is something that is, and I don't want to say, recession proof, because you said it at the beginning. You're like, look, you had to go with 50% less staff essentially to get the same result. But that taught you something as a business owner, is like, looky here, what I had to do, but yet I got a pretty good result from it.
Well, also, this is where I get to plug you in, right? You always taught us to work smarter, not harder, right? So it is something that's ongoing. It is a gift that I learned, working with you, that you pass on to me, and I pass on to my staff. So it's just, be more strategic, be more calculated, be more efficient, and what you do.
Right. And I'm glad that you brought that up. You kind of talked about, the future a little bit. Where is all this going? I mean, where do you see the company in the future, and what it is that you guys are doing?
Well, so 1-800 Tax Pros has, when we first started, it didn't start smooth sailing. There is no such thing. The more naive entrepreneur would think would only plan to succeed. I've learned throughout the years that we have to plan to fail. But if we're going to fail, for us to fail forward, right? Let our failure be a step closer to getting that formula down. And man, throughout the years, I've learned some very important lessons, that there is no amount of school, no amount of college or university. You just got to get into the trenches, get yourself, roll up your sleeves and get dirty sometimes to realize that what you have, that 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 being a successful entrepreneur is not necessarily a skill, but is an art. It's not just something that anyone can do. There is a lot of sacrifice, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. As a matter of fact, when I started doing this, Clinton, at LA Fitness, I remember as a general manager, I was making as much as $85,000 a year, salary, which is not, I know some of us have made, and I don't want to point at anybody, has made more money than that in the company, when I started the business, I was making 15 grand for the first couple of years. I would make more in 1 year as an employee than I did as a CEO.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of sacrifice. There were a lot of bumps and bruises, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. I hate to sound cliche, but it is the truth.
Yeah.
You have to be willing to get your hands dirty and get in there and learn the hard way. You got to be able to make a plan, not only to succeed, but a plan to fail. When you fail, let it make sure that you fail forward, so that you can continue on that path, because there are a lot of companies that don't make it past that first wall, that first failure. They fail backwards, and the company breaks. So I've been blessed. I've been lucky to have a great team of people that have been by my side. I praise my wife. She's been part of the company. She has helped me do things that it came with an idea that I got, with not an idea that I came up with, but with a vision. I've been lucky to have some good people in my life, a good mentor that has helped me capitalize, and has sometimes sat me in the chair and talked to me a little bit strong, in order for me to hear, to try to put some wisdom inside of this head. But it's taken a great group of people. It's taken, like I said, a bunch of spices from different individuals that has gotten our soup to what it is now, and we continue to work on that. But yeah, and I'd like to give you credit for some of that as well.
Well, I definitely appreciate that. But remember, it's just, sometimes it's just a little bit of momentum, a little bit of spark, right? It's like the biggest fires that have taken out, mountainsides, if you will. You hate to even say that, because of all the tragedy, but just small fires, right? So, I appreciate it, Loany, but the credit is yours, brother. It's like, when a quarterback hands off the ball, we all know what play we're running in this game of life. When that handoff comes, you take it, you run, you're the one that makes the touchdown. But I definitely appreciate that.
Thanks, Coach.
Yeah. There you go. So let's go back a little bit in the past. Like, let's go a little bit deeper. Like,
yeah,
there are certain things that you've picked up in your lifetime that, kind of stuck out for me. Okay. And I'm not going to talk about your ridiculous strength at the bench. That's absolutely ridiculous.
You could, but We'll save it for
Yeah, I
another.
could, but I want to talk about your ability to get so many people to be able to relate and do business with you, because I've seen you do a couple things, and with a couple things, it's always the same. You There's a little bit of momentum that starts, and then that referral base and that ability to build and keep building and continue to grow becomes like an unstoppable snowball. And I guess it's not so much of a sales tactic as it is, I don't know, a personality trait that you've developed. Or where did it come from? Where is Loany from? I mean,
Well,
talk to me about
I,
that.
I'd like to say that people can see a sales gimmick from a mile away, right? I never try to do that. I honestly, one of the things that I try to do is I try to find something in common with that individual, something in common, something that I can consider my base, my something that I could build on, my foundation with that person, and that's where I take it from. Sometimes the foundation is higher than in other, with other individuals. Some people also have that type of personality where they're open. Some people are a little bit more closed off, and it was just being able to find the foundation so that you could build and be honest with the person. I often say, and my mentor says often that he tells me that I'm so honest that it's both a strength and a curse. But regardless of that, I take it in stride, and I believe that you find that common ground with someone, and you try to build off on that, and that's the only thing that I can say. It's worked for me throughout the years. I never realized that I was that I had a niche for it until I got together with people like you and others. Matter of fact, when I started doing taxes, I started doing taxes from a referral standpoint. When I started doing taxes, I was still working for LA Fitness, and I remember making friends with a gentleman that was a tax preparer that went to my gym. And I said, I got him to do my taxes. I was happy with the refund I was getting. And then he tells me, hey, if you like, you send people to me, I'll break you off on a commission. I said, okay, how about you give me $100 per? And he agreed. Long story short, within a week and a half, I sent him 41 people. 41 people. He gave me a check 2 weeks later, and when it cleared, I was like, this is what I'm going to do. Because I'm not, this is just off of referrals, right? So if the guy is willing to pay me $4,100 in a 2 week period, there has to be more money in this business. So I decided to get into it, and I got together, like I said, with a couple of people, and here we are.
That's phenomenal. So that was kind of the provoking point. I mean, what was going on, I guess, at your time? And look, I mean, LA Fitness, we all know, was a great, teaching and stepping stone for a lot of us, right? I mean, it was.
I call it LA Fitness University.
Yeah, it's like, Harvard for, the dipshit meatheads, it's
Yeah.
like, right? It's like, we were all, look, it is what it is. But, what was going on, though, I guess, in your life of business? Forget corporate America for a second, but what's going on with you at that point? Because that's a provoking moment to where it's not just the money. I do know that. There's something else. What is that?
Well, I'll tell you where the aha moment came. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Once that check cleared, that was like that was the straw that broke the camel's back. I was like, this is what I want to focus. I want to learn more about. But I was working in corporate America. I've always wanted to be safe. I was always safe. It wasn't until I started getting scolded by some of these great leaders that taught me, some of the VPs, some of which I'm not going to mention their name, but One in particular, right? I remember it was towards the latter part of my career with LA Fitness, and this VP tells me, you know, mind you, there's a bunch of other gyms opening up around us, right? You got $10 gyms, you got, the likes of UFit or Planet Fitness that it's almost impossible to compete with, right? Because they're only charging $10 versus your $35 a month, and they offer the same things, the same amenities essentially. Matter of fact, some of them offer tanning or whatnot. But this VP pulled me to the side, and based on my numbers, he says, "Give me one good reason why I shouldn't fire you. Give me one good reason." And I thought to myself, how is it that a company that I have given, so many years of my attention and my work and my was talking to me in that sense. I don't say that LA Fitness condones that type of behavior, but I'm gonna say that that was a breaking moment. That was the time that I said, if I don't do something about this now, I'm never gonna do it. And I had the perfect opportunity had presented itself in this field, so that's what I did.
Wow.
But it's something that I have carried to me to this day, and I'm not bitter about it. And a reason for that is because I've been able to work on a relationship with Jesus that has allowed me to forgive people. But I still keep that as an example of a type of person, boss, or entrepreneur that I never want to be. I want to be able to provoke positive change. I want to be able to provoke people to maximize their abilities, um,
Yeah.
you
Well,
know,
and I think, Loany, there are certain things that, and I think that both men and women, professionally and even in relationships and all different parts of their lives, there's a tipping point or a provoking moment to where your back was against the wall and you decided to take action. And people have that in their lives, right?
yeah,
They have that not only in their business lives and in their careers. And I think that a lot of people have experienced, especially in the last year, kind of
or
one of those things that were uncontrolled, right? Like what you said happened to you was just that provoking moment to where you finally, enough was enough. You saw the value in it. So guess what? Now you can feed your family, you can feed yourself, you can make a great living. If you were able to do that in 2 weeks, part-time, not doing anything else except for working in corporate America and kind of going through the motions, then damn it, when people lose their jobs, right,
yeah,
and they lose their opportunity, then they can pivot. They can have it might be a forced provoking moment,
yeah,
but what you did and what you said. Now I want to fast forward, okay, because I want to be able to keep everybody's attention. Everybody
yes,
on this line's a bunch of squirrel brain chasers, right, including myself, including you. Look, let's talk about what you've been able to create as well. So you've learned all this, and I even saw it as a young man. Look, we all make mistakes. We all let our ego get the best of us. We all think other things are more important than what really is important. Now we're fast forwarding a little bit to Loany being, a husband and a father, and creating a home and an atmosphere that, is just filled, it seems, with the same compassion that your company is filled with. Can
yeah.
can you kind of fill us in on that? Like, how do you do both? I
Oh
guess is
man, you
right.
know, I'm not sure that I do a great job at both. It's either one or the other. But but I like to say that my family definitely is an inspiration for continuing to do this. You know, at first when I started this, I was money hungry, right? Like a lot of us young entrepreneurs are. We want to make money, we want to do this, we want to do that, only to come to find out that when you elevate yourself from this stage to this stage to this stage, and the burden becomes heavier too. See, before I was thinking if I made X amount of money, I would be good. That's all I need. You get to X amount of money, but the responsibilities to get that money also is part of that. So I started. There's only so much that you can grow as far as financially speaking, where your life is going to be that much different, right? Someone that makes a good living, and I don't want to throw a number, but when if I make 100 grand, um, I should be able to live a similar life than what I make now, right? And it used to be something where I thought that the more money you made, the happier you are. No, I think that was something very immature, very naive of me to think. And I realized that the way that I like to make money is to find peace in what I do, to be able to lay my head down at night and sleep without a worry, to be able to provide for my family, to be able to, put my kids in a good school, to be able to give them a life that I didn't have, and that to me is enough. As far as my kids go, and my wife, it doesn't get easier, just because you're a little bit more successful than you were. It doesn't get easier. It's always a constant, um, it's a constant effort that you have to make to be able to put. See, what the Bible teaches us is to put each other's first before we put ourselves first. If I do that for my wife, and if my wife does it for me, then we're putting each other first, no matter what. So it goes full circle, and I think there's great promise in that. And that's how I've been able to balance my life, is I try to put my family first before me, right? And I believe that my wife does probably a better, no, for sure does a better job of that than me. So that's how I am able to balance these things out, Clint.
Yeah, and it's so funny that you say that, is that I think that, management and leadership and influence, right, which is really sales,
Yeah,
okay? You develop these ultimate skills when you become a father and when you become a husband. And when I say husband, like a good one.
yeah,
Right?
yeah,
Right? Like when you're really trying to get better
yeah,
and you're really trying to improve, and there are other people involved. That's really what it takes to be a good leader and a good manager at the
yeah,
same time as well. So all these things that you do get challenged with on a daily basis in both your business life and your home life, right? They relate. And I think
absolutely.
that it allows this kind of battleground, if you will, right? To where you can bleed in battle so you don't die in war. Like sometimes I feel like even when I'm talking with my clients and I'm battling them to get them to do things that they don't want to do or they normally wouldn't do.
Yeah.
Okay. It's like sometimes battling my stubborn ass daughter,
Mm.
right? That's like 11 going on 19. Or my wife after, 20 years, of being together. It's like you can read each other's thoughts. You know how to run the play. It's just, are you feeling
Yeah.
running the play today? Like, is everything going to align
Yeah.
perfect?
Yeah.
So,
And sometimes you think that just because you're successful in business, you go home and things are going to be smooth sailing. No, I'll go home and my son tells me, no, I don't want to go to sleep. And I'm like, hang on. Sometimes you tell your wife, hey, I want to have my friends come over. And she's like, no, it's too late. And I'm like, hang on. I'm the CEO of a business. How
right,
are you going to talk to me like that?
right,
She,
yes,
she, She's the CEO of the house.
Yes, exactly. Well, but you can see it, like in your business, and there are some people out there that are able to, work together, as a family. They're able to separate that essentially when they come home. I think that when things are going well, they bleed into each other a great deal. And I think when things are not going well, it gets challenging, okay, from time to time. It really
Oh
does.
yeah.
But, I think that there's a lot of similarities. And you're right. I mean, look, I remember having that conversation with my wife one day as far as being the CEO, or, well, in my case, it was the VP. She's, told me, you need to be the VP of the house. You need to be the VP of the husband, right? It's like, whoa, I get you now. So, that's awesome, and, I think that's powerful in your business too. I think that that goes a long way to where when you can be committed to something more long term and not to short term, and you can learn to build yourself. I think it's important to build yourself as a man,
Absolutely.
over the years. And for those women out there, it's important for you to build, yourself being a woman at the same time as your professional career. Well, man, Loany, I mean, this has been absolutely awesome. So I guess, if you were to give, I guess one good nugget, one good, piece of advice for people out there, not only in the world that we live in now, but, I think there's a lot of people kind of, they're being provoked right now. And I think that the whole world's being provoked right now. But I think that some people are going to crawl into a shell and go backwards. Like you said, they're going to fail backwards. What kind of nugget, what kind of advice can you give to the people that are listening out there whenever they listen about, what direction can they go in? What do you think they can do?
I can only speak on what I've experienced myself, what I've learned, right? What has worked for me in business. You don't only plan to do great, because come on, we all get into something because we see the potential and we see the vision and we see that it can be very fruitful, but we never plan to fail. And I think in business you got to both plan for the good times and plan for the bad times. Have a plan to fail forward. It is inevitable that you're gonna come into a fork in the road, and you're gonna have to make a decision on things. Some of these things can break your company. What I would suggest is to make sure that you have a plan to fail, and to fail forward, continue to operate, continue to work, because it costs money to learn, right? Some of these things that happen in a business, they may be costly, but they're a lesson, and there is a lot to learn from hiccups or from mistakes. But that's what it costs. Just like people go to college, they go to the university, depending on whether they want to go for this or for that, they still got to pay money and they have to learn. That's what the price is. It costs that money for you to learn, right? Business is the same way. You got to pay money. You got to go through these bumps and bruises, and you got to figure it out, and they cost money. So have a plan to not only succeed but to also fail. But when you fail forward. And the other thing is, have a relationship with God. I give all glory to God and take none of it for myself. I used to see myself as this individual that thought that I was the best at everything and no one's better than me. And you know, I developed a relationship with God, and has changed my life from the way that I look at business. And I think it's been a necessary thing, because nobody would want to listen to that jerk, that big-headed guy that I used to be. I put it on God. So I think a spiritual relationship is very important. And I think find a mentor, find someone that can help you. You for have helped me throughout the years for many years. You are the perfect person that someone can reach out to. And then, make sure that you put your family, put your wife, if you're married, put your kids, if you have kids, put them first, and teach them that philosophy. And, I think that balance is very necessary. I mean, this is my input.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Well, thank you so much. I mean, I had an awesome time today.
Man, thank you, man. I appreciate it. I love
Talking, so I really, really appreciate that. And everybody that listened and everybody that's going to be listening. So how do people find you? I know that you're recruiting now. It is the
yes.
season. You got a lot of things coming up for the future. How can
Okay.
people find you?
Okay. One, you can go on Instagram or Facebook. You can go to 1-800-TaxPro.com. Also, you could, if you're looking for employment, we're looking for sales representatives. It's hourly plus commission right now that we're hiring. It's a great opportunity for people that want to make good money in a short amount of time, and looking for a company that's willing to, and they're willing to grow, that's about on the verge of expanding. They can go to info at 1-800-TaxPro.com. And the other way is my telephone number.
Mm-hmm.
Which, do you want me to plug it, or do you plug it?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and plug it. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I put there at the bottom, it's kind of scrolling, your website there,
1-800-TaxPro.com. Yeah. Yeah.
So everybody can go ahead and dial in. And remember, Loany's team, look, you can do your taxes from anywhere in the continental US, right? I mean, this is all virtual. This is a virtual company. So not only if you need your taxes done, but if you need advice, right? I mean, a lot of his team are very, very, very good qualified individuals that have a lot of knowledge. I mean,
they're all personal. They all have their PTIN, which is their personal tax identification number. So they're registered with the IRS. Everything that we do is 100% legitimate. The best part about our service is that we don't charge you anything up front or out of pocket. It does come out of your refund. So if we were to tell you, hey, you're receiving $2,500, that's exactly what you get. Last year, talking about we're nationwide, we serviced, I think, 49 states. So,
awesome.
Yeah. So, yeah. Give us a call if you guys need any tax help, if you need anything tax related. We do have affiliates that we can refer to you if you're a business looking for, a CPA. But for the most part, 1-800-TaxPro does simple taxes. It's nothing for business at the moment, but we do have affiliates. So
awesome. Yeah. That's good. Very good, dude. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in, all the comments. Look, if you like this, share it. Okay. If you want to hear more, look us up. You know where to find Loany if you definitely need help or any questions for him and his staff. You know where to find me at Provoke Coach, provokecoach.com. Have an awesome, awesome New Year's, everybody. Rock and roll. We'll see you next year.